Peter Drucker, one of the fathers of modern management theories, said making good decisions is a crucial skill at every level. Now, in a complex and ever-changing world, the need for leaders to be able to make good decisions is more critical than ever. But what constitutes a good decision really depends on your perspective on the outcome of that decision. And that perspective is often shaped by how the decision is made. So if the process to make the decision is secretive, done in isolation, it can breed distrust and confusion. Whereas if the process is transparent and it involves people, it's much more likely to lead to buy-in and understanding. And that's where collaborative decision-making comes in. So collaborative decision-making, like all forms of decision-making, it's a process. It's really deliberate, though, about who's involved and when they're involved. And that's because it's based on the belief that by involving people in the decision, you're much more likely to get a better solution. It's the whole two heads are better than one, this scenario. You're likely to get greater buy-in to the decision as well. Now, you can never treat decision-making techniques as a one-size-fits-all approach. So different situations require a different decision-making process. There's two things to think about. One, what's the level of buy-in that you need for the decision? Two, what's and who's got the knowledge that's going to really help you make that decision. So you determine who needs to be involved and when and to what extent they need to be involved. Now, when you make a decision alone and consult no one, you really run the risk of having a disengaged team or stakeholders that don't understand or support the outcome. Plus, as a leader, you're also assuming that you've got all the information that you need. And that's often not the case. Now, such an autocratic approach can be useful, typically in times of a crisis where quick decisions need to be made and you need a really clear chain of command. In those types of situations, it can make sense to have one person making the decision. But that doesn't mean that the person making the decision isn't seeking advice or taking on board the ideas of others. When you're leading a change, though, or trying to solve really complex problems, you're much more likely to get a better outcome if you take a collaborative approach. And a collaborative approach means that you seek input from those around you. And when you do that, you also need to be aware of which ideas you're listening to and which ones you're discarding. Because you can do surface collaboration where it appears like you're getting great involvement, but really you're actually only listening to the louder voices, or you're only listening to the people that you want to hear. The quieter minority is silenced. In other circumstances, you may want to take real collaboration to a high level, to the highest form of collaboration. And in this case, what you're doing is actually seeking consensus, using a process that's going to lead you to consensus decision-making. Now, the problem with the consensus decision-making is it's got almost a bad connotation associated with the word. It invokes images of long debates, watered down outcomes, kind of meaningless results. It's not like that. When you use consensus decision-making well, it's a really, really powerful process for building engaged and connected teams and stakeholders who really buy into the process. Now, consensus doesn't mean that everyone has to agree with every element of the decision, but it is something that everyone is willing to live with. And with a collaborative decision-making process, it ensures that people in the group feel heard. And when people feel heard, they're much more likely to buy into the decision. So it's a facilitated process where you generate ideas, sort them through, clarify that you've understood those ideas. And when you do that, it becomes much easier to then work out where are their common ground and where are their differences. And those differences then become an opportunity to explore the idea from multiple angles. And when you've done that, you've actually got much more comfort that you've explored the idea deeply, you've explored the issue from multiple angles, and you're therefore much more likely to make a better decision.